this is Joy with Create It with Joy. Welcome back to my 12 Days of Christmas cards. Today is day 3. I hope that you have enjoyed the first 2 days of this series. Today I'm going to be making a Christmas card using really soft colors. First off, I'm starting with some patterned paper that I had in my stash, and I used the Fawn large stitched rectangle stackables to cut out an A2 sized card. I prepped the paper with my anti-static tool, and I stamped it with Simon Says Stamp Merry Christmas stamp. It's a fairly large stamp, and I'm going to be embossing it with gold embossing powder. The ink that I used was from Simon Says Stamp. It's their clear embossing ink. This is really thin paper, so really make sure that your heat tool is heated up for a really long time, because this paper tends to warp really easy. So now I had a little spot that didn't have enough embossing powder on it, but I had left my stamp in the Misty tool, so I'm just gonna ink it up, stamp it again, and add some more embossing powder and heat that again, and that will fix any little mistakes that you have. The Misty tool is fantastic for that. I got a little bit of it on the paper, so just use your fingers or a paintbrush just to remove those little tiny specks that you don't want. I love how soft this card turned out with blues and pinks, and it just really made me super happy. So here I've used some white glitter paper, and I'm using My Favorite Things Snowdrifts dies, and these are from Fawn, the Birch Trees die. And I am, for the back trees, the trees further in the back, I just added a little bit of Tumbled Glass Distress Oxide inks because I wanted them to have a light shadow. You can't see it on the camera, but when you look at the card in person, you can see that the trees in the back have they're a little bit darker. I love this die set. These birch trees, oh my gosh, I think you could use for anything. So what I'm doing is I'm just going to be layering 3 trees on each side of this card to frame it up. And how I differed on each side is on the left side of the card, there's 2 trees in the background and 1 tree's popped up on foam tape in the front, and on the right side I have 1 tree in the background and 2 popped up on foam tape. Some of them I tucked behind the snow, others I left in front. I just kind of wanted it to have some depth. Felt like you were in a forest. So I'm using multi-matte medium liquid glue on the back of these trees, which works great. I mean, you could use a tape runner, but these have like the cute little notches out of the tree, and I think that you would see that. So here I just had to cut pieces of my foam tape and place it around those little notches to get some dimension on this card. So I'm just going to be attaching that real quick, and I just used Neenah Solar Crest or Classic Crest Solar White 110 pound cardstock for the trees, and I also used it for the base of my card. So just get those guys on there, and I will be trimming off all the excess, all the hangover. Okay, so here's these cute little guys from Fawn's Cheery Christmas. These little deer just, I think, are so super adorable. And I really wanted this card to stay soft, so I didn't want to stamp it in black ink. So instead I used a Distress Oxide ink frayed burlap, because I still wanted to see the outline, and it couldn't have come out more perfect. I was testing between 2 colors of what I wanted to use. So this worked. I was just in love with it. And I colored with the Copic markers, and it was perfectly fine, nothing smeared. Now you couldn't do it with like your zigs or something, because those are water-based and I believe that that would smear. Okay, so I'm going to be coloring with R00, R20, W00, E00, E30, and E31. Like I said, I wanted to keep everything really soft. There we go. I had totally forgot to zoom in. But these little guys are so dang cute. I think they're just so sweet and just fit to this little scene that I wanted to build. So I'm just coloring in with the lighter color and then coming back with a darker color to shade in and then blend it out again. You know, this card went through a lot of thought process, because it was starting off, it was going to be completely white, and then I just happened to come across this background paper that I fell in love with, so I just kind of went that way with it. So again, just shading. If you blend it out a little too much with the lighter color, just go back in with your darker color, add a little bit more. So you can see those shadows, gives it the dimension, makes those little critters come to life. And they're just so darned cute. And normally with these guys, if I had stamped them in a black ink, I would have taken a black glaze pen and highlighted their noses, but I did not do that on this card because I just didn't want anything like that standing out. So just add a little bit more. Added some pink to the ears. It would be R20 and R20 for the cheeks. And the same thing with the hat, I did R20. And that I was debating if I wanted pink or blue, but because the background was so blue, I just kind of kept all of that stuff to the soft browns and the pinks. Highlight those little dots on the back. Super cute. So here are the pinks. I did R00 and then highlighted with R20. Now in the stamp set, they also have solid Christmas balls and open ones, and I did it off camera, but I stamped and embossed those with the same gold embossing powder that I used for the Merry Christmas. And I just cut those out. And the ones that, well, a couple of the ones that were left open, I just used some Nuvo crystal drops in duck egg blue to fill those in. So now behind that cute little guy, I added foam tape because I wanted him to pop up. And then the other little guy, I kind of tucked behind the tree a little and just used some liquid glue. And there's that cute little Santa hat. And liquid glue works way better than a tape runner when it comes to sticking things to a glitter paper. So letting that dry. And then I realized this guy was a little too much on a tilt. So we need to straighten him out. And then I'm just going to tuck these little Christmas balls in and around, kind of see how I want to do it. Like I said, some of them are a solid gold embossing, others are not. That one I colored in the R20. And I will be adding the Nuvo crystal drops, or glitter drops in White Blizzard. And see, that one I left open. I ended up changing these around a little bit. But I liked the look of this card kind of tucking in. It just made you feel like they really were sitting in a forest. And for me, I really have been trying to use patterned paper more in my designs. And I really like how that has been turning out. So sometimes you just have to step out of your box, I think. This little guy needed something hanging from his little antlers, but I decided to change which ones that was. Just using that multi-matte medium from Ranger to adhere all those little guys. And here's my A2 size card base. And I did want this with a little bit of dimension, so I'm adding some foam tape behind. We'll place that on the front. And I really do like to stick the front of my card onto the base before I start adding any of the Nuvo drops and things like that. So here is the duck egg blue, and I absolutely am in love with this color. This is the Nuvo crystal drops. It is just so, so pretty. And then I'm going, like I said, going to be using the glitter drops in White Blizzard on some of the other ornaments, and I love how glittery this is. And then I'm also going to be using Nuvo crystal drops in Simply White for a little bit of drops of snow coming down in the background. But I also added to the trees the glitter drops in White Blizzard. I wanted it to look like there was frost or snow sitting in like the little crooks of the branches. All of this is really light, simple highlights, but really do make a huge difference. So there's the Simply White and just a few little snowdrops in the back, nothing crazy. I really didn't want to distract from this card. How cute. Thank you guys so much for stopping by. Thank you for being a part of this 12 Days of Christmas Cards series. If you like what you've seen, please thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I do have a contest going on for a giveaway at the end of this. If you need to check out the details, please go to my Instagram account. Have a wonderful holiday.